Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hard Knocks debuted the 2021 season last night on HBO. I watched it, featuring America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. And it's funny, this morning, USA Today had a headline, 5 takeaways from Hard Knocks. I started reading it. I'm like, what am I reading this for? I don't need your 5 takeaways. I got a couple. Number one, I was not the biggest Dak Prescott fan. I think people that watch this show know that. I'm less of a Dak Prescott fan coming out of watching this show. What a whiner. What a whiner. Look, I understand you want to take every rep. I get it. You can't take every single rep. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
He was very upset
that he couldn't.
That he was pulled early in this training camp a couple weeks ago because they want to give the backups some work. Danny Bonaducci, the backup quarterback. Well, Ben DiNucci's his name, but I call him Danny Bonaducci, which means nothing to you, do you? He was the star of the Partridge Family. Anyways, that was one. Dak, come on, stop whining. Let these other guys have some work. And then, of course, he ends up getting hurt. 2, the biggest one was Jera. When he was talking to the team, I thought it was the head therapist. You said it was the team doctor.
Yeah, it was one of the two.
Yeah. So he's writing with an HB pencil these notes on Dak, talking with the medical staff on the phone. And we all take away different things. But my thing was this. He's eating a McDonald's Egg McMuffin, Jera Jones. And people are saying, well, what's odd about that? He's worth $7-8 billion. How did he not have a Red Seal chef at his ready? You know, here you go, Mr. Jones. You know, with his choice, an omelet station.
Yeah, exactly. He's got Benedict or something like.
Right. An omelet station, a guy cutting a roast at the end of the table. Jerry, when you're done with the trainer, we have your choice here of ham, roast beef. Do you want that in your omelet, Mr. Jones?
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
I was born to broadcast. So the World Juniors, 2012, I'm calling the national radio feed. I'm sitting there in the press box of the Saddle Dome like this, playing Pac-Man on my phone. Ray Ferraro, he's like, are you kidding me? And I'm like, what are you doing? I'm playing Pac-Man on my phone. I just died. And he goes, don't you have game prep to get ready for the game or something? No, I know the numbers. I know everything about them. Let's get the game going.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show. Brand new week. Same spot. Johnny O's Gymnasium with the pros at Johnny O's here in beautiful Boca Raton, Florida. But only for what looks like 2 more days. And then I got a real exciting spot we're going to broadcast until the end of time from. We're live on the Game Plus television network. Of course, WQEE Radio, home of the 0-1 Falcons. Sorry, Rhino Radio. And, of course, all the streams. Let's bring in the Moose. He remains in Canada's football capital, the 306, where he's out there broadcasting football. Moose, I will very quickly just ask you how you doing before we get down to business, because everybody's in a good mood. They're not punchy today, but they want to talk ball. Let's go. What's up with you?
Yeah, I'm exactly the same as everybody else, man. I'm in a great mood. It was a great weekend, and I'm ready to talk ball, too.
Okay, so as far as the guests go, don't get mad at me. Blame Chris Walby. Bluto bailed. Winnipeg Hall of Famer was supposed to be with us today. He bailed. So we got our good friend Captain Lou Gamelin from the Captain Lou Extravaganza join us. He's out of Michigan. Good friend of mine, longtime friend of mine. He's going to talk about the Lions. He's going to talk about the Red Wings. So he's coming up. Other than that, it's just me and Moose and a whole lot of you and me. Can you hit the quick 6 show horn, please? Whoever's directing. Oh, and by the way, Bomber Boy writes in. He says, Rod Squad and Moosaholics assemble. Moosaholics. You like that, Moose? I do. There's so much to get to. I came in here. Some of these guys, you're probably going to see them over my shoulder. But I'm going to try to ignore that and stay on point with the program today. But they're like, what are you going to talk about today? Ball? And I'm like, yeah, of course. Guys like, we got to talk about my guy, Jacoby. The other guy says, you got to talk about the $500 million on the field in Cleveland at the quarterback position. I'm like, just chill. Everybody's got something to talk about today, Darren, on this first Monday of the NFL season. I'm just going to a couple of highlights here. Like Sunday night, David Montgomery's 1-yard touchdown run in overtime lifted the Detroit Lions to a 26 NFL win over the Matthew Stafford-led LA Rams on Sunday night in a rematch of their NFC wildcard game yesterday. Here in Miami, Jason Sanders nailed a 52-yard field goal as time expired, and the Dolphins came back to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 20-17 to win their fourth straight NFL season opener. And there's a lot of other highlights, like J.K. Dobbins had some of his biggest games in college against Jim Harbaugh. But on Sunday, he helped Harbaugh get a win in his return to the NFL sidelines. Dobbins rushed for 135 yards, including a 12-yard touchdown in the fourth quarter as the Chargers won 22-10 over the Raiders. By the way, we got college football, CFL recap, Monday Night Football. The funeral for the Gaudreaus is today. Maybe some Blue Jays if we have time. So we got a lot to get to. So everybody just slow their roll. Those are some of the highlights. What were yours week one of the NFL Sunday season, Moose?
Yeah, it looks like the Chargers have an offensive line. Joe Alt to the tackle spot, the rookie out of Notre Dame. He was really good against Max Crosby of the Raiders. And Harbaugh, he's just going to win games. He is. He's going to win games as a coach. That's what he's always done. You know, Tyreek Hill, the arrest. I mean, the celebration with him and Jalen Waddle with the hands behind the back after the long 80-yard touchdown, that was pretty great. I wouldn't be too worried. You know, the Patriots beating the Bengals. Look, Joe Burrow and the Bengals, they've had tough season openers in the past, and it's always something else. And we saw our guy Mo Egger talking about it. There's always an excuse. Their opening day loss. There's no excuses. Bad football game. They'll get better. And the other one was the rookies didn't play very well. You know, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix had a couple of interceptions. You know, Caleb Williams, even though they won, talk about that. Caleb Williams did nothing in the opener for Chicago, was not great. But they're starting the first time. And I've heard a lot of talk this, last couple of weeks about it. Troy Aikman was 1-15 as a rookie quarterback. You know, Peyton Manning was 1-15 in all the interceptions. Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes never started their first years in the league. These rookies need time. So I'm not worried about rookies not having good debuts.
Who is your favorite quarterback in the NFL right now? Of the 32 starters, who's your favorite?
It's a great question. You know who I'm actually in love with right now and really looking forward to watching? It's Kyler Murray with the Cardinals. And didn't put up big numbers. They lost. But he actually looked pretty good. And nobody puts Kyler Murray in the conversation of top quarterbacks in the league. But he probably should be.
I'm going to ask that right out of the jump for our viewers, the Rod Squad right now. Who is your favorite quarterback in the National Football League? And I'm going to... You won't be able to guess. Mine is Baker Mayfield of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That may or may not surprise you. I got to meet him at Super Bowl last year. He's no taller than me. As a matter of fact, he's quite a bit shorter than me. He's just got a heart that, as I say, you're going to have to put a bullet in him to stop him. And Baker doing Baker things. They won the NFC South last year. Probably going to do it again. And he threw 4 touchdown passes. I'm awash with everything in my brain football-wise. What I know is they won. You just said they beat Washington. Everybody, who's your favorite quarterback in the NFL right now? And by the way, we got 2 hours to get through all of this. For instance, I do want to spend more time on Tom Brady's maiden voyage. It's in my 10 things column. If anybody can't wait, you can go to rodpeterson.com right now. My thoughts on Tom Brady's debut in the broadcast booth in the NFL on Fox. Called awkward by pundits, and they're not wrong. It was awkward. But you know what? Who wants to be judged by their first day on the job? I don't. You also don't get a second chance to make a first impression, but Tom will. He talked all over the play-by-play guy, Kevin Burkhardt. There was dead air. It was awkward. However, as a guy that knows a little bit about broadcasting, I'd like to think, if you actually listened to what Tom Brady had to say, because it wasn't that polished right out of the gate. Deshaun Watson threw one up, and thankfully for the Browns, it wasn't interception, but Tom Brady wasn't intercepted. But Tom goes, if you're going to throw it up, don't throw it at Trayvon Diggs. You might want to throw it at her. That's the kind of stuff you're not going to get from a lot of guys. It's simple. But, I mean, Tom is going to end up being the best color guy in the league before long. And then the other one is Dak Prescott. I will just say this. I'll get to Tyreek Hill later and his arrest outside the stadium. 50,000 people got in and out of that stadium Saturday night during a college game, including me, with no issue. 70,000 got in and out on Sunday with no issue. But the best receiver in the game for the Dolphins gets arrested because he's speeding and moving violent. Like, oh, my God. But Dak Prescott, do you actually believe that Jerry Jones and Dak Prescott's agent woke up Sunday morning and just magically resumed negotiating on the biggest contract in NFL history? Do you actually believe that? Because that's what they would have you believe, that they got it done just before kickoff.
I mean, potentially they always knew they wanted to get it done before kickoff, and finally in the morning said, okay, let's do it. Let's get it out. But there's a good chance they're like, look it, this is agreed to. Let's just wait and announce it on Sunday morning. Everybody will be fine. Let's announce it. The Cowboys will roll. We're all in, according to Jerry, this year. And they look pretty good on Sunday, too. Like this wasn't a distraction. So doesn't sound like there was too many distractions going on.
Speaking of distractions, this is the greatest sports talk show anywhere. And you're seeing why. Everybody's loving it. Everybody's loving us doing the show at Johnny O's. This morning I was running 3.5 miles indoors listening to every channel, ESPN radio, NFL radio. My good friend Ryan Leaf is now on the morning show there. Dan Patrick, Mike Florio. I wanted to take him. I can't remember who it was, but somebody said, do not judge Deshaun Watson based on what happened Sunday in the Browns game against Dallas. When you don't have two NFL caliber tackles on your offensive line, there's no way anybody could play behind that offensive line. So it is what it is. Dak is the highest paid quarterback in NFL history per season at $60 million. I'm saying good for him. Everybody seems to like him. It's a little amazing to me that he's never even been to a conference championship game in his time. They're gaslighting me in Dallas, telling me he's all that. And I'm like, okay, well, I just don't see it. But whatever, I'll go along with it. Baker Mayfield's still my guy. Now, moving on, a lot of people came here, obviously, for Canadian Football League talk. We are Canada's daytime sports talk show. If people don't like that, they're welcome to get off the train now. Because we're on Game Plus television across Canada and in 31 states on TV there. And, of course, WQEE in Atlanta. Here's your recap of Week 14 of the CFL. The Edmonton Elcabos outscored the visiting Calgary Stampeders 21-3 in the second quarter en route to a 37-16 CFL victory Saturday night. That capped a triple header in the CFL. With the win, the surging Elks improved to 5-8 and escaped the West Division basement with a sweep of their Alberta rivals. The Stampeders, now 4-8, occupy last spot in the 5-team West Division. In the game just before that, Zach Caleros threw for a touchdown and Sergio Castillo kicked 4 field goals as the Winnipeg Blue Bombers defeated the Saskatchewan Roughriders 26-21. The Bombers and BC Lions now at 7-6, our top spot in the West. The Riders are winless in 7. That's our poll question, by the way. Do you think the Roughriders will make the playoffs? I voted no. I don't know what the results are yet. We'll get to that. The first game of that tripleheader Saturday, the Ottawa Redblacks scored early and often on their home turf. Damon Webb returned 2 interceptions for touchdowns in Ottawa's 41-27 victory over the Argonauts. The Red Blacks are 3 points back of Montreal for top spot in the East. Argos quarterback Chad Kelly threw 4 picks. And on Friday night football tonight, the BC Lions took over first place in the West temporarily after a 37-23 victory in Montreal Friday. The 10-2 Alouettes have a comfortable lead, though, in the East Division standings, as we mentioned. So that's your rundown of the 4 games. What were our picks? I was wrong on BC. Well, I got them here. Do you, off the top of your head, remember what we were? I can go back and look them up.
Yeah, I was 3-1. We were obviously right on Winnipeg. I was right on BC. You were wrong. You picked Montreal. I was right on Edmonton. I think we both picked Edmonton in that game. And then we split the other one.
We were both 3-1.
Yeah.
I had Ottawa, you had Toronto, you had
correct.
BC, I had Montreal. So, yeah. So what are your overall thoughts on Week 14?
Yeah, it was a great week. what did I see? There was, 4 games. There was over 105,000 fans in the stands across 4 games. Like, that's really good. The league is in a good spot. The games are exciting. I saw this morning, and I think it came out yesterday, that Trey Ford's going to start when he comes back for the Edmonton Elks. They're in a great spot, winning again. Calgary is in a lot of trouble. Saskatchewan in a lot of trouble, and the East all of a sudden has become really compelling. Toronto loses again, and now all of a sudden they're really looking over their shoulders, maybe at Hamilton. It was a great weekend in the league for sure. And the fireworks in the Banjo Bowl right away, I love to see it. When Willie got his hands on the block punt, the league's in a great place when Willie Jefferson's making plays.
I unfortunately didn't see a snap. Listen, I got a few things. I didn't see a snap of the Banjo Bowl because there's just too much going on. Just to give you an idea, trying to keep our head around the NFL, CFL, Canadian college, U.S. college, high school. Friday night I went and pre-scouted a game. Well, Matt DeBuck pre-scouted a game. I just went with him because both of us getting out of the... It was an opportunity to get out of the house. Did you ever see Daddy's Anonymous on the Flintstones? That's what it was. DeBuck's like, do you want to come up and watch a game with me? I'm pre-scouting. Yeah, I think I do. So I had that. My 12-step sponsor is a massive college football fan. My sponsor, Bob. I think you've met him. Sunday morning, he's like, well, what did you think about that Northern Illinois Notre Dame result? I'm like, stop! I can't, Uncle. I'm not following Northern Illinois Notre Dame. I'm sorry, right? And Saturday night, I went to visit with Henry Burris prior to the Florida A&M Miami Hurricanes game at Hard Rock Stadium, the home of the Dolphins. So I'm trying to stay on top of everything, but it's like impossible to do that. So that's why we all come together here to talk about whatever we're into on this Monday. And there's a charm in that, I think. But do not expect me to be up on top of everything. But I can't. I'm into what I'm in. You're into what you're in. But what I will say is I'm very excited is beginning, it looks like Wednesday, I'll be in my permanent broadcast studio home. Comcast is coming to set up all the technical requirements Tuesday afternoon, as I told you before the show. And Matt DeBuck was like, hey, are you going to have a desk there and a set? Can I bring you some stuff down from the Chiefs? I'm like, maybe. But where I'm very happy is, personal note, is it's permanent now. This is home, not moving around from place to place to place. I'm very happy about that. The poll result so far, 1 out of 10 polls reporting. Will the Saskatchewan Roughriders make the CFL playoffs? 60% of respondents saying no, they won't make the playoffs. Now, before we break, and we'll take a quick break and come back on all of this, you are there in the 306, and you said the fans still wearing their green stuff, still sporting the gear even after the Banjo Bowl loss. No, that doesn't surprise me at all, but that sounds like that surprised you a little bit.
Well, it did a little bit. I was sitting having a coffee with a friend and, lifelong Rider fan. And I said, well, they're not too worried around here. Look at that guy's got his Rider gear on. Oh, he's got the green hair over there. 15 minutes later, somebody else in a Rough Rider cap and jersey. They're not jumping off the bandwagon, nor would I expect them to. But
they never will.
Depressed isn't the right word, but they're just they're not in a great place, around this team, and they don't know if they're getting out of it anytime soon, and that's tough.
Just hang on, everybody. I got 18 things just popped in my head, but we have to take a break. 902-518-3033. We'll get to the college scene when we come back. More on the NFL and CFL. The comments are coming in. We are live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, of course, live streaming on YouTube, and also Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important to miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
The 80s Club, live in Moose Jaw. Honeymoon Suite, along with a flock of seagulls. Men without hats. And spoons. All together for one night at Moose Jaw Event Center, Saturday, November 16th. Tickets on sale now at sastix.ca or the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
We're broadcasting live on a Monday on a variety of platforms, Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, and of course, YouTube. The RP Show warm-up is brought to you by Seat Giant. Stop paying U.S. dollars for games and concerts. Canadian-owned and operated with Canadians in mind. Super Bowl, college football, Taylor Swift, Justin Timberlake. They've got it all. Use promo code RP Show for 15% off now. Check us out at SeatGiant.ca. Let's bring the Moose back in. Before I dabble back into the CFL, NFL story and get to the college story, funny thing, I always told you over the last couple of years what Joe Rose was saying on the radio here. He played for the Dolphins. He was Dan Marino's tight end. He does color on the Dolphins broadcast on the radio, and he hosts the morning show. He's a busy guy. He said that Tyreek Hill story, Cheetah, number 10, Dolphins receiver being arrested outside the stadium prior to him. Darren, come on. This morning, Joe Rose is saying on the radio, think about it. He goes, this is the wildest opener in Dolphins history. Wildest game day. The receiver is on the boulevard getting cuffed and stuffed, Darren. The fans are driving by on their way into the stadium. Here's Tyreek Hill on the boulevard getting arrested. What the hell?
Oh, no.
This makes Scotty Scheffler seem like nothing. Like, my God. And then the cop ends up getting suspended. Did you see that? Put on administrative leave. Near as I can tell, I just want to say, I can see how it would happen. Because I was there Saturday night with Chris from the Bronx. You met him, Chris Sanford. We're going 40 mile an hour out the wrong way. Now, we did it I did it on purpose, but it's not hard to get screwed around that stadium, man. So I can see it. But they said, tell me if you go along with this, that the Jaguars jumping out to that 7-7 lead before the Dolphins roared back to win was that the Dolphins' heads were somewhere else, that the Tyreek Hill situation rattled the Dolphins players. Do you believe that that would be a thing?
Potentially. It potentially could, getting everybody on the same page and it messing up your pregame. I mean, I don't know exactly how late he was getting to the stadium because of this, but where's Tyreek? Did you hear what happened with Tyreek? Is he going to be okay? And I would understand if the players were a little distracted because their success hinges on Tyreek. If he's not playing, they don't win usually. Now, it's more than one player. It's a team game, all the rest. But no, I can go along with that a little bit.
902-518-3033 to text into the program. Tony from George Fox Country writes in, and he says, the Stampeders got booed off the field at halftime on Labor Day. The Browns got booed off the field at halftime on Sunday. I may as well cancel Sunday ticket and watch pickleball until hockey starts. The Browns were up against the Cowboys no matter what. And you didn't actually think they were going to win, did you? It's a little like this Rough Rider situation with them losing in the Banjo Bowl. You didn't actually think they were going to go into Winnipeg and win. Come on. So they're winless in 7. Are they going to be able to turn it around? I don't know, but let's get real about it. Darren said the fans there in the 306 are still wearing their Rider gear and stuff, and I'm like, of course they are. That's what fans do. Patrolman Pete in Winnipeg writes in, he says, hey, Rod, how are you doing today? No, where did it go? Patrolman Pete, I agree with Darren. It feels like the CFL is finally shaking off its post-pandemic funk. As we were leaning on the fence watching the high school game on Friday, me and Debug, God, it was a great chat. And he goes, it feels like the CFL is making a comeback. And I'm like, yeah, I will go along with that. I mean, we watched all the games anyway, so I don't know what finally turns people on. But Labor Day weekend is always that weekend where it turns, and the stadiums are packed. And the sucky thing for the Riders is every market's getting excited but theirs. And Calgary, too. But John Burns in Calgary's dropped $7 to get us to read his comment. He says, Alex Single, where does the money go? I'm demanding answers around here. People dropping money to get their comments read. I've never seen any of this money. John Burns says, Alex Singleton wore Johnny Gaudreau's jersey before the Broncos game. Some magic in that jersey? Alex got an interception. Defense got 2 safeties. That was very nice of him to do. Patrolman Pete says, exactly where is George Fox Country anyway? That guy's music takes me back. It's Cochrane, Alberta. Jim in Balgonie writes in, he says, I'm always intrigued by the quarterback travels of Kirk Cousins. Enjoying the show as always. That's another one, man. The Falcons probably thought they were going to win that game. They were favored to win that game. Kirk throws 2 picks. Steelers go in there and win. Larry in Medicine Hat writes in, he says, I didn't know the Vikings were playing the Montreal Canadiens. The jerseys that the Giants wore did look like vintage Montreal Canadiens jerseys, yes. And Vikings fans, don't get too excited. It was just the Giants. They're in their 100th season. This might be the worst of their 100 seasons of New York Giants football. And Scott in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan writes in. He says, morning, Rosgard. Great place where you're broadcasting from. Great view. It's Johnny O's Gymnasium. And he says, Jordan Love. What's the latest on Jordan Love, the Packers quarterback who injured his knee Friday night in Brazil? It's not season ending, right? That's the word? It's not season ending?
No.
What's the latest
it's not.
You've read on that?
They've escaped that, but it's multiple weeks that he's going to be out. They had traded for Malik Willis, the Titans' backup quarterback or third-string quarterback. He has an opportunity. He has some starting experience. People are asking about other free agent quarterbacks that are available. We'll see what the Packers decide to do, but it's going to be multiple weeks for sure for Jordan Love.
By the way, it's amazing to me how much the fans, the viewers, want to talk about the National Football League. That doesn't surprise me. Oh, Jen at the Four Seasons says 3 to 4 weeks. Thank you. And Bomber Boy chimes in and says sprained MCL. Tony from George Fox Country says, my favorite quarterback is/was Bernie Kosar. Please, I love you all, but please stay on point. I said, who is your favorite quarterback in the NFL right now? Come on. I thought I was clear. Mine is Baker Mayfield. You said who? Sorry, who did you say?
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray in Arizona. Who is your favorite quarterback right now? Please stay on point. We will get to the Canadian University in a second. Brian in Hudson's Bay writes in. He says, Jarius Jackson must be feeling pressure from above to start Trey Ford next game. Otherwise, why would you? McLeod Bethel Thompson has been playing great. And no, the Riders are cooked like dinner. Reynolds and O'Day, just do Rider Nation a favor and leave already. The board of directors is too gutless to do anything. The stadium will be a ghost town by the end of the season. That's from Brian in Hudson's Bay. Disregarding Edmonton making a quarterback change once Trey Ford's healthy. I heard this morning. No, it's not like I didn't know it. The coaches at the pro level and even, let's say, college level, because it is a pro job, and junior hockey, they're not going to play favorites because their ass is on the line. So Jarius Jackson's not being told by anybody to play Trey Ford. Jarius Jackson would not play, I don't believe, the quarterback that didn't give him the best chance to win. I don't think anyways. Jarius, I was surprised when I heard that Trey Ford's going to start. But I can't think that's anybody else's decision but Jarius Jackson's. Deal or no deal.
I would agree with you on that. And it could be a couple of things. Like I'm a big fan of you can't lose your job due to injury. So, I mean, Trey Ford had been given the starter's job because they hadn't been winning games. He gets hurt. It's his job when he comes back. I'm cool with that. And for Macbeth, he understands and he knows that he's going to come in off the bench and play well. The team knows. I think this puts Edmonton in a great spot down the stretch and towards the playoffs, knowing you got Trey Ford, who's confident coming back to start. You got Macbeth, who's now confident coming off the bench. Edmonton is for real.
Oh, yeah. Bill, watching in Toronto, Ontario, writes in. He says, my buddy Scott started the Argo-holics in the early 80s. Bomber Boy stole it. LOL. He's referring to the Moosaholics, Darren DuPont fans. Noni in Calgary writes in. Noni says, hi, Rod and Darren. So glad to have time to watch you again. As a Rider fan, it's a very frustrating time, but if we can beat Calgary in our next game, that'll hopefully turn it around, and we can maybe end in third place. I guess there's always hope as a Rider fan. As for my favorite NFL quarterback, of course, it's Patrick Mahomes. Have a great day. Everybody, please write in with who is your favorite current NFL quarterback. I feel like it's interesting that it's not necessarily the quarterback of your team. Mine is not Dak Prescott. I think that's very clear to everybody. For me, it's Baker Mayfield. Okay, hang on. I just need to stop for a second. So we will get to the Canada West story in a moment because people are asking. Just college for a second. It's so immense. Here, Florida Atlantic University, where Chris Carter works with the Owls, they're 0-2. I went and watched Florida A&M get spanked 56-9 against the Miami Hurricanes. Henry Burris is the quarterback's coach there. I spent good time with Hank before. Got this selfie. I meant to put it so we could air it on the show, but whatever. It's all over my social media. The Colorado Buffaloes lost at Nebraska. They're 5-9 under Coach Prime. These are some of the things. It's your Michigan got bombed by Texas, which I think we all expected. Sorry, Darren. There's just so much. It's like, oh my God, is what I put in here. Oh my God, college football week 2. It's insane trying to stay on top of it.
Yeah, it is. You know, somebody mentioned the NIU Notre Dame game, and that was tough for Notre Dame. Offense never got going, really, and they couldn't get the field goal at the end. That was an upset because they were 4 touchdown favorites to win the football game, and they lost. That's a huge huge upset. Alabama faced a bit of a scare for a while against South Florida, but they ended up surviving. Yeah. Texas looks like legitimate national championship contenders. Like they're going to be a playoff team. They may win the whole thing. They were really impressive against the Michigan Wolverines, no doubt. Fun weekend.
I told you a few times that I was with Matt DeBuck Friday night. His son's the backup long snapper for the South Florida Bulls. So that's another game that I was watching, and it was a 1-point game into the third quarter. And I asked DeBuck, did you? He was there. He was in Tuscaloosa sending me pictures. And I'm like, did you think there was going to be a comeback or an upset? And I won't tell you what he said. But it's just immense. And that's why I think we all enjoy it, right? I enjoy the variety. I like being able to stroll into a college game and be friends with a coach. Not everybody has that opportunity. I get it. But I'm not going to not go to a college game because I'm a CFL fan. Like, some of these fans just go nuts. We had one of our viewers pissed off that in one of our columns on the weekend didn't talk about Canadian University football and junior. It's like, back off, buddy. Like, oh my God, I don't know if it's a snob thing or what, but the variety is unreal. Listen, speaking of that, it's just Moose and I in hour one, so we're getting through everything. So I'll just do point 4 now. Renzel Arenaza?
Yeah.
Okay. Renzel Arenaza's first U Sports touchdown early in the fourth quarter put the University of Regina into the lead for good. And Noah Pelge set a school record as the Rams outlasted Saskatchewan for a 33-28 victory Friday night in a U Prairie Challenge thriller at Moe's Stadium. Noah Pelge finished with video game numbers in the win. 83.9% completion percentage, setting a new U of R single game record. It's the first time in how long the Rams have beat the Huskies? 8 games or
it
8
was
years?
8 games
one of the two?
that the Huskies had won in a row.
Yeah, 8 games. Yeah. Okay, so we'll talk about that. Darren called it. And from what I can gather, a lot of people watched it. So we got that. NFL, CFL, college, boom, 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 all over the map. And that's a good thing. We'll be back in a moment here on the Game Plus Television Network. WQEE Radio, live streaming on YouTube, Apple Podcast Live.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Now the race is on and here comes pride in the backstretch.
Celebrate 40 years of Sawyer Brown.
Some girls don't like boys like me.
With Shenandoah.
You got to get me to the church on the Cumberland Road.
Plus special guest George Fox. Saturday, October 26th, Moose Jaw Event Center.
I'll take the dirt road.
Tickets are on sale now at the Moose Jaw Event Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
6 days on the road and I'm
Sawyer Brown and Shenandoah live.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Does this look familiar?
Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hi, everybody. Join veteran NHL coach Lorne Mulliken, Rough Riders great Bob Poley, golfer Gil Dash, and me at the first ever Wolseley Celebrity Sports Dinner on Saturday, October 19th, a night of stories, laughs, and a great dinner, all benefiting the Wolseley Sportsplex. For tickets, visit wolseleyArenaBoard@gmail.com. And we are broadcasting live from Johnny O's Gymnasium, Florida's largest outdoor covered training facility. Train with the pros at Johnny O's. Okay, let's bring in the Moose in. Stopping for a second before delving back into the football talk. Hockey is never very far from our heart. I'm fielding comments coming in from our viewers of our Cats and Bolts podcast that Serena and I do, Darren, and I do get a kick out of the people that think that they're general managers. Rod, this is why they got rid of Stamkos. They were saving money for a rebuild, and they don't want to spend too much money on Stamkos. Are you familiar with the term armchair general managers, Darren? This is kind of why people don't understand. We should spend a second on this, and I'm going to get into the Gaudreau funeral news for a second. The PWHL has named its teams this morning. But you said you were talking with your sister. She didn't understand the whole topic of culture, and a lot of people don't. And stick with me, everybody. And the people that know the game will be nodding their heads here. Workplace culture is the same as team culture. It's how you treat people, period, bottom line. Stamkos was kicked out the door. End of story. Let me just say this. Labor Day weekend, I had a former member of the Rough Riders, talk to me about how the way he was treated at the end of his time with this regime. It's how you treat people. Bottom line. Okay? And that's why the Rough Riders are struggling right now. I know people can't understand, but we have talent. We have this. We got a great coach. It's not about that. It's about culture. It's about how you treat people. It's how you support people. It's how you have their backs. It's how you take the blame, even if it's not your fault. You take the blame. So that's what they don't get it. People look at the spreadsheet and they think this is how you run a team. And some teams do. Leafs. It's not about that. Would you mind, if I'm not prying too much, explaining the conversation you had with your sister about culture?
Well, we were just watching the Sunday night game, and for a long time, the Detroit Lions have been really bad. Now they've turned the corner, and they seem to have turned the corner and become a good football team. But she kind of wondered and asked the question, how come bad teams, especially in the NFL, stay bad forever and never become good? And I said, look, it's probably culture. Not in all cases, but it's probably culture, and it probably comes from somewhere up top. And I mean like outside of the locker room and on the field, and it seeps in because these teams, they hire great coaches. They draft great quarterbacks. They always have the top draft picks. So it's not like they're constantly have bad people in the organization and bad players. There's more to it than that. And you have to break the cycle.
Detroit's been bad forever, but they're not anymore, as you know. And Lou Gamelin's coming up next hour, the host of the Cap Lou Extravaganza. He covers the Lions and the Detroit Red Wings extensively. I can't wait to talk to him about that. But I don't understand why it's so hard for some people to understand. It's hire good people and let them do their jobs. End of story. I was listening on the radio this weekend about Dan Campbell. He'd been in Miami. The Dolphins didn't want to lose him. The Lions head coach. He's up there in Detroit now doing great things. You hear his players say they will run through a wall for him. They'll walk through fire for Dan Campbell. And, I mean, I don't know him. Do you know why? From what I'm told, because he's been there before. He's been in the trenches. He's not asking the players to do anything that he wouldn't do. And that's why they love him. I will use my own analogy, as Serena and I were talking about this weekend, about my personal coaching in the recovery business. It's not life coaching. It's recovery coaching. What I do, mental health and addiction. But when people come to me, I've been in 100% of the cases. I spoke to it about it Friday night or last Friday at that recovery event in Saskatoon. People come to me with substance abuse issues, firings, deaths, cancer, divorces. I've been through it all. When people say, how come you're so successful at this? It's because I've been there, and people know that I've been there. Why do people believe in Dan Campbell to play for him? Because he's been there. But they just don't get it. I mean, Jeremy O'Day's played there. For why there's no more successor under him as general manager, I don't know. But the guy running the organization isn't qualified to run a lemonade stand. And yet nobody can figure out why this team can't get out of the funk. So of talking about it, my God, we've told you a million times, and nothing's changing. So the Columbus Blue Jackets and NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman are among the mourners expected to attend the funeral for John and Matthew Gaudreau in suburban Philadelphia today. It's the latest memorial for the siblings who died when they were struck by a suspected drunken driver while riding their bicycles in their home state of New Jersey now 2 weeks ago. Countless members of the hockey community from Columbus to South Jersey to Boston College are expected to join family and friends for the funeral. Meanwhile, breaking news from today, the Professional Women's Hockey League has unveiled team names and logos for all 6 franchises. This was hotly anticipated. But for me, it was. Next season, the Boston Fleet, the Minnesota Frost, the Montreal Victoire, the New York Sirens, the Ottawa Charge, and Toronto Scepters will hit the ice as the league enters its second campaign. Teams played without nicknames or logos during their inaugural season, which ran from January to May. So here's the thing with the Professional Women's Hockey League. Number one, my niece probably going to play in it one day, so I will be following it. Number two, Valley Sports Florida carried the games last year. I saw Daniela Ponticelli on the broadcast, so I stopped and watched. I'm like, this is pretty good hockey. And that's the one key of our business. I think being on television is a key thing, because there's literally, I'm told, 2 million podcasts out there. I actually think there's 2 million sports podcasts alone, let alone just general podcasts. But to be on television, that's the key. That's why when Game Plus tells us, by the way, guys, you're preempted for pickleball an hour or two, or you're off the air for all week for a video gaming conference. Okay, see you next week. We're good. Because being on television is the key. The Professional Women's Hockey League was on television. End of story. So we watched. So I'm interested in the fact that the team names were announced today. How about you?
Yeah, I am too. And, curious to see what the teams do with the branding and all the rest. And look, fans are going to love the names. Fans are going to hate the names. That's nothing new. And whether you hate them, you just hate things that are new and different and whatever. Over time, it'll be interesting to see, how they deal with the branding and stuff. This is fun. This is exciting. This is another step forward for the game in a league that had such a great year and is just on such a great trajectory. And I'm excited for them.
James Warnicki writes in and says, Moose, just want you to know you and Dunk are the A team in Canada West broadcasts. There you go. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, do those ladies know they are being watched by millions of TVs across North America? I feel like they don't know, and I feel like let's keep it that way.
How about that?
It was like this. You're not old enough to remember Ed Allen, but a lot of our viewers do because owns the 55 plus age demographic across Canada. Ed Allen was the original fitness guy. Before Richard Simmons, before all these guys, and he used to like work out on a recliner on a beach. We watched it as kids because there was nothing else on. Ed Allen in a jumpsuit, in a orange jumpsuit, I might add, or Hal Johnson. That's what we're doing here. Plus putting SportsCenter together with what we're doing. So yeah, we want to be different, and I think we've accomplished that. We'll be back. 902-518-3033, the number to text us here in the studio at Johnny O's Gymnasium. One more thought on culture. Utah Darren writes in and says, hire great people, great things happen. I feel like it shouldn't be that hard to figure out, but for a lot of teams it is. We'll be right back live on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, live streaming on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
It's a quickie here with us. Can we please bring him in? Hour one brought to you in part by Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Hockey players, are you looking for the perfect place to perfect your shot? Look no further than Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Whether you're prepping for the big game or just want to have some fun, Overtime Hockey Lanes has got you covered. 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. That professional women's hockey league thing, this is kind of funny. Utah Darren writes and he says, wait, a whole league played without team names and logos? The Utah Hockey Club must have stolen the idea. That was just the city names last year, and I liked it. Or the state names like Minnesota. I honestly liked it. But, of course, nobody ever listens to me. But I thought it was very clean and classy and just not encumbered. New York versus Montreal. You know?
I agree with you.
They should have stayed or not. You did?
PWHL Toronto, PWHL Minnesota, PWHL, whatever, Ottawa. I thought they built a lot of momentum around that, around the colors and all the rest. And I hope that there's still a lot of that same branding. And I got to look deeper, but I hope all the colors are still the same.
I'm sure they will be. Scott in Moose Jaw writes in 902-518-3033. He says, Geno Smith age is pretty good, too. Oh, I see. Scott saying Jordan Love. He wrote in earlier, Jordan Love is his favorite current quarterback. Geno Smith, hey, bro, somebody's got to love him. So if that's you, great. I don't see a lot of votes here for Daniel Jones with the Giants. John in Rosthern writes and he says, Detroit Lions quarterback is good. Don't forget about the Lions. Go Lions. Can you name him? Jared Goff. Freddie in Winnipeg writes and he says, sorry, boys, I am not answering your favorite NFL quarterback question until tonight's game is done. We got all next hour to talk about the Monday night football game. New York Jets at the San Francisco 49ers. Stop. Oh. We won't. We'll go there next hour, Darren. But Kirk in Toronto, I want your take on this. Kirk says, hey, Rod, Chad Kelly has thrown for over 1,000 yards in 3 games, but has 2 losses. Looks confused with all those picks. Their secondary is terrible. Argos are in trouble. Nah, they're not. Because all they got to do is make the playoffs. And the Argos, I talk about teams with good culture and backing their people. The Argos are a team that does that. That's why Chad Kelly's back on the field. They're not benching him, Darren. Maybe ever. Certainly not anytime soon. What do you think?
This is his training camp still. Feels like he's still in training camp.
Yeah.
Working his way out of it.
Well, that was quick analysis from Moose.
Yeah, well, we don't got a lot of time.
Too, by the way. That was really good. Okay, Moose, see ya. I'm going to read a couple comments. We'll let you go.
Later.
Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in regarding my Ed Allen thing. He goes, my mom used to exercise to Ed Allen every morning. My mom, too. Maybe that's why. The guy worked out. All he had was a damn beach recliner. Step-ups. Yep, step-up. Yeah. And my mom was doing it in the living room of the farmhouse with Ed Allen in his orange tracksuit. Patrolman Pete says, Canadian Premier League soccer should take a lesson. PWHL, CEBL are on TV and thriving. CPL locked behind a paywall. Everybody ignores it. Not us. Hour 2 coming up after this.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
I was born to broadcast. So the World Juniors 2012, I'm calling the national radio feed. I'm sitting there in the press box of the Saddle Dome like this, playing Pac-Man on my phone. Ray Ferraro, he's like, "Are you kidding me?" And I'm like, "What are you doing?" "I'm playing Pac-Man on my phone." "I just died." And he goes, "Don't you have game prep to get ready for the game or something?" "No, I know the numbers. I know everything about them. Let's get the game going."
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yeah, buddy. Welcome inside hour 2 of your favorite daytime show. It must be, because that's why you're here. We're on Game Plus television all across Canada and in 31 U.S. states. On the radio down there in Atlanta, WQEE-FM 99.1. And, of course, streaming. Let's bring in Moose. This is where it's going to get real fun, because we have a lot of questions come in from the audience, Darren. And while Canada's a hockey country, they do love football. We got a lot of questions from the viewers. Let me just re-up. Who's directing, Clark? Because Jordan's off. Who's directing? Bryce. It's Bryce. Bryce, can you please hit the Quick Six show horn, please? Bryce is nice. Hey, thanks, Bryce. Our Quick Six show topics were these: NFL Week 1 recap, CFL recap of Week 14, College Week 2 recap, Point 4, Canada West University. We've done all of that. Point 5, Johnny Hockey and his brother's funeral today. Matthew, we mentioned it. And then Monday Night Football tonight, Jets at the 49ers, and whatever randoms come up. We haven't even talked about the Blue Jays yet, and probably won't, because they suck. Darren, but when I say this is going to get fun, here's the fun part. Bob in Saskatoon writes in, and he says, Darren Dupont and Justin Dunk, way better than Tom Brady. Just saying, at play-by-play. Matthew Stafford's my favorite quarterback. Very classy NFL QB. So, see where I'm saying? We're going to pop the top on viewer questions and comments here in hour 2. You know, not a secret. I don't turn the sound up on much of, if any, of the play-by-play, other than baseball. I do for baseball because I really love the Blue Jays commentators. And I'm not the most intricate of baseball guys. I want the analysis. Football and hockey, I know enough of what's going on. I don't need to hear the announcers. But I saw somebody ripping Tom Brady on Twitter for his first game. I'm like, I better turn the sound up. He's doing the Cowboys game. Have you seen the coverage, Darren? There's a lot of coverage on Tom Brady's maiden voyage in the Fox broadcast booth, and they're calling it awkward. I can't say that they're wrong. Did you watch much of it?
I did. And I watched, his prep. I've watched him do hits leading up to it. And I'm very interested in this too, right? And for Kevin Burkhardt, working with him, what that relationship was going to be like. There's two things that go into being a broadcaster, right? There's prepping and knowing the game and the people within the game and those things and having your knowledge down pat. And I don't think there's any issues. Tom Brady knew everything about everybody when it came to that team. I don't know if anybody prepped more than him. But then there's the broadcasting part. And that's the stick handling of hockey. That is the passing, the throwing and catching of football, the things that come naturally, picking your spots. If you've never done it, it's not easy at first for people like you and I wouldn't even say that I'm that good at it. I'm still working on all of it. It's kind of second nature by now, picking your spots on when to talk, when not to talk. Sometimes it's appropriate not to say anything, understanding who you're working with so that you know if they're going to say something else after a pause, right? If you don't know somebody's nuances, they might just be pausing for dramatic effect and you cut them off when they haven't finished their thought. A lot of things go into being a broadcaster. Tom Brady is going to figure this stuff out.
Sure. And I'm kind of getting a kick out of it. I think Tom will be fine. I think he's getting $37 million a year. He's making more money to do color than he ever did as a player. And more than anything, it's my age. I'm not ancient, but I'm certainly not young. But I'm at an age where I just sit back and observe and see what everybody's saying and chuckle and laugh. And I'm not embroiled in any controversies, as you see. Not right now, not today. And I'm like, y'all, you don't get it. You think that it's easy. Darren just said it very well. I broadcast 1,400 hockey games, close to 500 pro football games. Been doing this show for 6 years. 10,000 hours in my last as a sports radio host, and I'm just sitting back. Those guys that are doing that job now, from what I hear, my last job are saying, didn't realize there's this much work. And you donkeys thought it was easy. People think it's easy for Tom Brady to just stroll into the broadcast booth and do color in front of millions on television. You think it's going to be easy. It's funny, Serena and I were talking yesterday about my good friends down here. Matt Dubbuck, the high school coach. Henry Burris, now of Florida A&M. She's like, these guys are seeking you out, Rod, because they know they're not threatened by you. You're not trying to take their job. You compliment what they do well. I was born to broadcast. They were born to play and coach. Not the same. They're not the same things. Why would anybody think Tom Brady would walk in there and it would be seamless? But I just laugh at it because that's the way that it is. With baseball, my first few broadcasts this summer were a bore. And one of the parents came up from Nebraska. Actually, it was an aunt, Marcy, of one of the players. I said, I'm so sorry. This is my first summer doing baseball. I'm sorry you had to struggle through it at the start. She goes, well, you're getting better. Remember that? I didn't expect to be Vin Scully right out of the gate. And by the end of the season, it still wasn't. So anyways, it's whatever. But I can tell you this, when Tom Brady steps on a football field, he probably was never nervous. It's like that intro that the boys ran to open the show today. When I was broadcasting the World Juniors on 26 radio stations across Canada, or the Grey Cup on just as many, I was never nervous. I was born to do this. But if you asked me to play in those games, I'd have crapped myself. I didn't have the head for it. So that's one thing. Utah, Darren writes in and he says, probably tough to try to talk and sound intelligent with people talking in your ear. That's the other one, when people laugh at the referees, when they're trying to announce a penalty. Like they just got stung by a bee. They're trying to announce a penalty, and they got one guy here, 3 guys here, talking. Oh, my God. They just don't understand it. Glenn in Medicine Hat writes in, back to the CFL for a second. He says, I don't know how the odds makers do it. Winnipeg 26, Sask 21. The over-under was 47.5. Dude, your lips to my ears and you're singing from my hymn book. I don't get it either. I don't know. And that's why, number one, I don't bet. I would like to do a campaign for responsible sports betting with whoever, the authorities, the governments, maybe even the betting companies, because sport betting is fun, what you and I do. I don't put any money down. I always look at the point spread because it's just a indication of what people have put far more work into this and have no bias at all or thinking going into any particular football game. You know what I'm saying, Darren? That's why I pay attention to it. I don't bet on it. I never forget, before all the games, when Craig Dickinson was coaching with the Rough Riders and I was the broadcaster, we would stand in the end zone during warm-ups. And you know Dickie, he'd have his arms crossed. He'd just lean over. What's the line? I'm like, Eskimos by 7. Okay. Because the coaches don't look that stuff up. They can't. They'd be electrocuted. They'd be sent to the electric chair if they were looking up point spreads. They literally would be. But it's fun for me. Do you like it?
Oh, yeah. Like it is. It's fun to talk about. It's fun to look at. And, you know, when you look at, you know, the way we analyze teams, that's a part of it, right? When the public and the betting experts and they put out the lines, we look at, okay, not just wins and losses, but how many times did a certain team cover the spread? That goes into, you know, are they playing up to their expectation? Can you trust this team to go out and do what they're supposed to do? You know, is this team playing above themselves and trending in the right direction? We look at those things, and those things kind of matter. They're fun. At the end of the day, wins and losses are what really matters, but it is fun to look at the lines and see what people are thinking.
Well, by the way, they're not always right. We talked about this, the upsets, which is what everybody was talking about here today. I'll say it again because I know that people are slow to catch on. We're brought Johnny O's Gymnasium. This is, by the way, called a performance gym. You've noticed the people behind me. NFL players come here to train in the offseason. And as Johnny says, the guys that make $45 million a year are coming here, and they come here so they keep making $45 million a year. So the NFL games are a big topic around here. In college football, too. But, I mean, the Patriots going in to beat the Bengals. Was it you? Was it 16-10, I think, was the final? Was it you saying Mo Egger was going off about the Bengals losing at home? Like, that's unthinkable that nobody had that. I'm trying to remember what were the upsets. I believe that the Falcons were favored to beat the Steelers, and that didn't happen. I want to say about 90% of the odds makers were right on Sunday, but 10 weren't. And that's why they call it gambling, right? What were the other upsets?
Yeah, and it's really difficult, especially in week 1 and 2, to understand what the league's going to look like and who's going to step up, right? I mean, from one year to the next, there can be a big drop-off because of people like Johnny O, right? You know, you got guys who put in a tremendous amount of work and take a huge leap from one year to the next. And you got guys who have never seen the inside of a Johnny O's, you know, and take a step back or decide to count their money and spend their money instead of working to keep it, you know? So there's that. And we don't know if Deshaun Watson is going to go that way or not, but it wasn't a great opener for him. It was a fantastic week 1 for Sam Darnold. We talked about rookie quarterbacks that you need to be patient with and need some seasoning. Maybe he's had just enough seasoning and it's time to take him off the smoker and he's ready to cook. You know, he's ready to be eaten and is ready to go. I don't know. It's one game, but he's got weapons there. He seemed really comfortable. Maybe he's finally found his fit. Not in Carolina, not in New York, maybe this is the spot. I don't know, but we'll learn a lot in the first 2 weeks.
That's why we call it Overreaction Monday, because everybody's got a take. And this guy's washed up. This guy's that. Regarding this, okay, just a few things here. Tony from Cochrane, Alberta, says listening to squeaky Tom Brady's commentary just added to the pain of watching the Browns and cow tippers game. Wayne in BC says because some people think everything Tom Brady does comes easy to him. Well, Darren knows this because he's investigated it more than I have. I've investigated enough. I was sitting in Mexico watching Super Bowl one time on television at a party, and the guy behind me beside me, who was a considerable loser, but he said to me, "Oh, I wish I had Tom Brady's life." I said, No, you don't. Guy hasn't drank a coffee for 20 years. I've seen you pump 6 beers down in the first half alone. Tom doesn't drink. Tom doesn't eat anything but fish and rice and salad. Like, you don't have the discipline to do what Tom Brady's done. I see it because I've been around these guys all the time. Look at these guys working out right now. Patrolman Pete writes that he says some pretty jacked dudes working out in there. I see these guys every damn day. You think these guys are built this way because they were born that way? They weren't. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, is Johnny O's intimidating for the average guy? Is it intimidating? They don't get more average than me. I'm not intimidated, if that answers your question. These guys are my friends. Here's what I've realized. If you came here and you didn't look like that, they're just glad that you're here. And get off my machine, bro. But also, they're too busy in their own workouts. Do you know what I mean? That's why I get on here and run. And I put on my head. Nobody's going near the treadmill. No, they're sitting there pumping iron. That's about it. I know you're having as much fun as I am. A good poll question would have been this. How many plays does Aaron Rodgers last tonight? You think he lasts the whole game?
Good question.
For the Jets?
Yeah, I think
Monday
he does. I think this is finally the Jets' time. Last year was a huge disappointment. They get a chance to redo. He comes back. I saw he had an emotional interview on NFL Countdown, and it's going to play the rest of it, I think, tonight. Played a bit of it yesterday morning. The rest will be tonight in the pregame on Countdown. But with Alex Smith, and Alex Smith has gone through his own serious injuries in his NFL career with the Chiefs and whatnot, and then I think Washington. But he gets to talk to Aaron Rodgers. I always love when the former players talk to the current players and they can relate, not just like me as a broadcaster. They'd be like, this injury. And Aaron Rodgers got emotional, and he's like, I can't hide it. I'm old. I know I'm old. I know I don't have a lot left. I'm thinking, flashing back to Green Bay and all the struggles and the times and the change and, wanting to be in this city. And I don't want to miss that opportunity. So I'm curious to see how he takes advantage of it.
I think he'll finish the game, but I don't think that they win. But it's funny you say that. The last time Henry Burris was on this show, and good work, Clark, lining that up. I was just with Hank Saturday night, but 2 nights ago. But he talked about that Grey Cup in 2016 when his knee popped in the warm-up. And he was like, anybody knows that's had an ACL injury that blah, 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 blah. I'm like, well, I don't know what that's. I've never had an ACL, and I've never worked hard enough on my body to have one. And that's why I was listening to an interview with Tom Coughlin last week, the legendary Giants coach, and he said how this club that they're all in, you pay a heavy price to be in it. Blood, sweat, and tears. That's, the club. There's no name to it. And why I've been welcomed into that club, I don't know, but I'm just grateful to be into it because I don't know what it's like to suffer that injury. I don't know what it does. Now, having said that, I do work with athletes now on the mental side of the game, but that part I haven't been through. It's interesting you say that about Aaron Rodgers and that he would break down in the interview because I think most would tell you the mental side's far more difficult than the physical side, coming back from an injury. Greg Martin's watching in Calgary. 902-518-3033. He texts in regarding who's your favorite current NFL quarterback. He said, Josh Allen in Buffalo is my favorite, but the way he plays, he might not make it through the season. Yeah, I'm not as sold on Josh Allen. I'm more sold on Baker Mayfield. Couldn't be more different quarterbacks. It's the way that, in my mind, just the way that they play. But we can't all love the same player. We will be back. Lou Gamelin on the way today from the Captain Lou extravaganza. We're going to talk about those Detroit Lions, and we're going to talk about this Detroit Red Wings. But we'll be right back. We're live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, live streaming on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Esteban and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The 80s Club, live in Moose Jaw. Honeymoon Suite, along with a flock of seagulls. Men without hats. And spoons. All together for one night at Moose Jaw Event Center, Saturday, November 16th. Tickets on sale now at sasktix.ca or the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Folks, Join veteran NHL coach Lauren Mulliken, Rough Riders great Bob Pulley, golfer Gil Dash, and me at the first ever Wolseley Celebrity Sports Dinner on Saturday, October 19th. A night of stories, laughs, and a great dinner benefiting the Wolseley Sportsplex. For tickets, email wolseley.arenaboard@gmail.com. This guy may or may not be surprised how badly I've been wanting to talk to him for a while. Can we bring in our good friend Lou Gamelin from the Captain Lou Sports Extravaganza? Lou, I'm just going to mention this. David Montgomery's 1-yard touchdown run in overtime lifted the Detroit Lions to a 26-20 NFL win over the Matthew Stafford-led Rams on Sunday night in a rematch of their NFC wildcard game. You've been commenting a lot on that game, but I dearly need your take on the Red Wings. And we're going to get to that. But you're basically saying no apologies from the Detroit Lions today? Is that what you're saying?
No apologies at all, Rod. First of all, thanks for having me back on the show. No apologies indeed. It was one heck of a game. You know, I was wondering what it was going to be like last night. You know, you talked about it a little bit earlier, the first game of the year. There's going to be rust. Neither one of these quarterbacks played all year, and it showed in the first couple of series. But towards the end, it was smash mouth football, something that Chuck Knox and every other coach of the 70s would be just loving right now. 7 running plays in overtime out of 8, and they just bullied their way in for the win.
I've got the Lions and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Do you have the Lions in the Super Bowl?
I have the Lions and the Chiefs as well. I picked that last week on my show. I think they are just that complete a team. They went out in the offseason and addressed the defensive need in the defensive backfield. And Terrion Arnold last night, their opening round or the first round draft pick out of Alabama, he matched up against Cooper Kupp. Now I know he gave up 14 receptions, but I think Kupp would have got 14 on just about anybody yesterday. They were that dialed in, and they really addressed that weakness, Rod. And I think that they're going to work on, or they're going to play on what happened in the last half of that game against San Francisco in the championship game. And they're not satisfied. They want to take that next step. And the Lions fans in Michigan and the Detroit area, they're still thinking to themselves, I don't know how to act. Games like last night, those were games that the Lions would have lost. And so this is just a totally different phenomenon here right now.
I'm going to get right back to the Lions in a second, but we always, as you do as well, like the audience participation. 902-518-3033 to text our studio here at Johnny O's Gymnasium in Florida. Rob writes in regarding Tom Brady's maiden broadcast. Rob Swallow writes, does anyone remember Tony Romo's first broadcast? No. Tom Brady will be just fine in time. I don't turn the sound up when I'm watching games. Lou, I don't know if you saw me mention that earlier. I don't need it. But when I remembered that Tom was calling the game yesterday, I turned the sound up because that's my team, the Cowboys. And it was awkward. I'm a huge Brady fan. And I believe he'll be great. But what did you think of his first broadcast?
Well, you know what? He was nervous. You could tell. He's human. And he made a few mistakes, but so did Tony Romo in his first broadcast. I mean, these guys, this is a whole new phenomenon for him. And I know, you know this, they do walkthroughs, they do practice games, just talking into recorders, for lack of a better word. He's going to get better with time. Once he gets comfortable, he's going to be pretty good. He's knowledgeable, and I think he's not going to make the broadcast about him. And I think that's big. And I look forward to listening to him again. I really do, because I'm a big Brady guy too. And I think he's going to do wonders.
It's just, I don't really get the Brady hate. I would just chalk it up, to be honest, to jealousy. Whatever. I'll admit that it wasn't great, but he will be great. Back to the Lions. The laughing stock for decades, Lou. Who gets the credit that they're not anymore, in your mind?
Well, I think Sheila Hemp starts. She went out and she got guys like Chris Spielman to work in the front office, and that was a culture changer, bringing in Brad Holmes. sticking their neck out to get, Dan Campbell. And we all know, you and I have talked about this, that opening press conference, biting kneecaps on the way back up. Everybody, they laughed at him. They thought, oh boy, what a buffoon. Well, they bought in. When you can get a guy and you can get a GM and you can buy into that, I think it starts at the top and works its way right to Dan Campbell. And now it's interesting. I heard something last week. Agents are calling Detroit to see if they or their players can come. Never in my lifetime, Rod, has that ever happened where agents have wanted their guys to play for the Detroit Lions. And the people in Michigan are basking in it right now.
Yeah, whatever it is about him, I mean, I don't know. I just looked up his resume here, and he interned with the Dolphins in 2010, was the tight ends coach here for 5 seasons, and then interim head coach in 2015. Then he went to the Saints, and now obviously to the Lions. And they miss him in Miami. He's that kind of guy, Dan Campbell. And the players very clearly say they would go through a wall for this guy. They are.
They bought in. Look at the game plan. Look at last night. This is, Rod, you watched the NFL enough now. This is a passing league. And, not everybody's going to get the same amount of stats each week. Look at Amon-Ra St. Brown had 3 catches, I think, yesterday. Sam Laporta had 3 catches or 4 catches. And they've got a speedster, and Jamison Williams. He had a kind of a breakout game last night. But they did what it took to win, and they saw something in overtime. They saw maybe a tired defensive line for the Rams, and boy, did they just exploited it. And when you can get 7 carries or 7 rushes out of the 8 plays and just bully your way down the field, and again, they didn't use all. It was a complete effort. They withstood some mistakes, and that's all part of buying into Dan Campbell's his work ethic and his theme.
Wayne in Victoria, BC writes in and says, I agree with Lou. I'm looking forward to listening to Tom do more games. I think he'll end up being one of the best color commentators in the NFL. Now to what I really wanted to talk with you about. The Red Wings and the Florida Panthers reside in the same division, Tampa Bay Lightning too. And listen, Lou, you're my guy. Like, I'm writing now for the South Florida Tribune. I just focus on the Panthers and the Lightning. I don't really look around at the other teams. You're my guy, is my point in Detroit. And you said they don't have the goaltending. From what I can see, Lou, they still don't. So are they going to be a playoff team or not?
Well, they're so close. And obviously, goaltending always seems to be an issue here in Detroit. It's the goaltender, it's the quarterback, it's the relief pitcher here in Detroit. And they don't have it. I mean, God bless Cam Talbot. I don't know if he's the answer. Billy Husso, I don't think he's ready. I don't know if he can stay healthy. Kosa is, I think he's going to be up with the parent club. He did great in Grand Rapids, Rod. But, the jury's out. Is he going to be able to handle the big, handle the big boys? And, I know they've got somebody lined up at Michigan State, but that's down the road. And nobody wants to hear that now here in Detroit. The other focus is with Raymond and Sider. They're unsigned yet. I still think they'll sign them both to long-term deals. And, here's my question to you. What do you think about Tarasenko coming to Detroit? I mean, how big of an impact do you think he'll have here with the wing wheel?
I'd love to go on your show and talk about that. So as a guy whose dad worked in the NHL for 26 years, I just listen to the hockey people. I can form my own opinions too, but I haven't watched him on a night-in, night-out basis. So what they said in St. Louis was that he was lazy. And I'm like, okay, well, he's an all-star every year. He won a Stanley Cup. How lazy could he be? And then up in Ottawa, my hockey people up there are that, oh, yeah, he's lazy. I'm like, oh, boy. So when the Panthers got him here, I didn't think much of it on the trade deadline last year. But what happened, Lou, was that for 3 months, he was on his best behavior. He was back-checking every play. He became a 200-foot player. I don't know what he was doing in practice, but he was on the top 1 or 2 lines. He was on the power play. He was on his best behavior for 3 months to win a Stanley Cup. Do you see what I'm saying? In a short window, he was exactly what the Panthers wanted. And I didn't see any traits of him being lazy at all. You guys got him for the whole year. So we'll see if that can. It's a tough. It takes a lot of energy to play that way, is my point. I don't know if he's got it in him.
Yeah. Well, and I think they've got a good base of talent. They're getting there. I mean, we all know the Yzer plan. Everybody says be patient. Well, the patience, I think, is starting to run out a little bit here with the fan base. And again, it goes back to your point, your question about the goaltending. And I 100% agree with you. That's the biggest question mark. I'm not sold on Talbot. Husso can't stay healthy. Alex Lyon was a nice story for a while. But, if they got to rely on those three, if Kosa's not ready, boy, it's going to come right down again to the last weekend, the last period. I still hearken back to when they had that shootout and they won the shootout, but they had already found out that they got knocked out. And Kane made that goal, and it was just like, who cares? And I don't think he wants to go through that again either.
Well, we have a lot of viewers in Edmonton, and they know Sebastian Cossa from his days with the Oil Kings. He's got WHL championship credentials. He's 6'6". He's got all that. He's young, so maybe he'll be the guy. But the one thing, Lou, is I see Detroit when they come in here to Sunrise. There's just so much respect just dripping off that organization. I just respect the hell out of them. And I laugh at this. I mean, there's so many armchair GMs out there. When they get going on about Ken Holland, yeah, but he only won one Stanley Cup in the salary cap. Shut your mouth.
Oh, my God.
He's got 4. 3 pre, 1 post. Shut up. Stop talking. Ken Holland is the man. Agree or disagree?
Preach. I agree 1,000%. I mean, Rod, I grew up in the 70s watching the Dead Wings, right? I remember the early 80s when they had to give a car away every night to get people to get into the Joe. It was bad. Brad Park coaching and telling the guys to jump over the wall to engage in fights. I mean, and then Kenny Holland comes along, and all he did was assemble one of the greatest teams of all time in 2002. I mean, in my opinion, it's one of the top 2 or 3 of all time. And the people that just dog him, it's just insane. That's why, I would have loved to have seen him win another cup, but he's won 4 with Detroit. And you know what? He's always going to hold a special place in my heart because I don't know about you. I like my teams to win, and he's a winner, and he built one.
I thought that used to be the thing. Apparently it's not anymore. Right. But yeah. What I'm realizing is literally just walking away from people is actually the best thing you can do. Don't stand there and argue because they ain't never going to see it your way. Lou, thanks for jumping on, man. I knew this would be a treat. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you very much for having me. It's always a pleasure. Thanks.
Lou Gamelin out of Michigan, the host of the Captain Lou's Sports Extravaganza from the 12-ounce Sports Network. Coming back with a sports update and viewer takeover as well. We are live on the Game Television Network, broadcasting from Johnny O's in Boca Raton, Florida. Also WQEE Radio, live streaming on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
We're brought to you in part by EMJ Marketing. Connect with thought leaders and industry experts through EMJ Marketing's Speakers Bureau. Check them out at emjmarketing.com. Couple notes, if we can bring the Moose back in. A sports update on this Monday. John and Matthew Gaudreau are being mourned by family, friends, and countless members of the hockey community at the funeral today in a Philadelphia suburb for the brothers who died when they were struck by a suspected drunken driver now 2 weeks ago in New Jersey. Buses brought players and others to St. Mary Magdalene Catholic Church in Media, Pennsylvania, and a crowd of hundreds walked in for the service, including several children wearing Gaudreau number 13 jerseys. Columbus Blue Jackets teammate Patrick Laine, Cole Caulfield of the Montreal Canadiens, NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman, and longtime executive Brian Burke were among those in attendance. Meanwhile, Tyreek Hill of the Miami Dolphins was handcuffed and placed face down on a street outside the team's stadium after he was stopped for speeding and reckless driving Sunday before the Dolphins' first game of the season. The incident Sunday morning left wide receiver baffled and resulted in a police officer being placed on administrative leave. Some fans saw Hill being handcuffed, video on their way to the game, and it went on social media. Tyreek was told after the game that the officer was placed on leave and said, quote, "That should tell you everything you need to know." I said this to Moose earlier. I was listening to Miami Sports Radio today, WQAM. Joe Rose, the Dolphins color guy, is like, fans are driving to the game. And the NFL's receiving leader is being cuffed and stuffed. Garrett, let's just walk that back for a second. Can I please tell me, when did that get on your radar? That this was happening?
Pretty early in the day. And there's a couple of things that happened during the day on that. One, they said that after he got arrested, that Tyreek was being pretty confrontational. And I'm assuming that's what led to him going down to the pavement and being pinned down. But I will credit, he did the touchdown celebration, with the hands behind the back, got cuffed by Jalen Waddle. That was really funny. But after the game, he was doing the post-game interview because he had just another typical Tyreek performance, 130 yards and a touchdown, and they win. He said, look, we move on. We learn from it. Everybody learns from it. We move on. I don't want to talk about it. And he really was mature and took the high road. Not saying that he won't on social media or that, he's not happy that he's probably happy that the cop is going on administrative leave, but he didn't take the opportunity to shove it down anybody's face or do anything. He just took the high road, made it about football. And, I like that from Tyreek.
Jeremy in Winnipeg writes, and he says, what a great Sunday. Tons of great games. NFL is back. Deadly Sunday night game. I'm at peace. Ha ha. That's Jeremy in Winnipeg. He is a Kansas City Chiefs fan. Okay, with what you say about Tyreek. Okay, a couple things. So here's when it got onto my radar. I got up Sunday morning, wiping my eyes, pour a cup of coffee, turn on NFL, whatever show, ESPN countdown, I guess. And I see on the ticker, Tyreek Hill arrested and detained prior to Dolphins game. Now, this was before kickoff. I'm like, what? And then I'm like, nothing surprises me anymore. It's in my commentary today. You can go read it right now. Top item at Rod Pedersen. Nothing surprises me, period, especially nothing with Tyreek Hill. So you said that he handled it very maturely, and that's great. But I don't think he's mature. The fact that he's got 6 kids by 4 different women is whatever. Whatever. We would say that's being active in the community. That's what Tyreek Hill is very active in the community. Yeah. No, it's the way that we
How about
kind of
that?
a football term.
That's
He's
good.
very active in the community.
How about that?
Yeah, exactly. One of those kids burnt down his mansion last year, playing with matches. Remember that? Playing with a lighter, burnt his mansion down. You've been to the beach house. You've been to the beach house. Like, here's the thing, man. What's really cool about living here, and it's new to a hayseed farm kid like me, it kind of blows my mind. Most everybody's used to it, but I'm not. The beach house where you've been, we do our special occasion shows. Tyreek Hill goes there. Thad, the manager, who you've met, has pictures of Tyreek Hill at the beach house. And why wouldn't you go there? It's one of the most beautiful restaurants in all of South Florida. Lamar Jackson's from just down the road, Pompano Beach. Everybody's got a Tyreek Hill story. He ain't a bad guy. I don't think he's a bad guy. As someone who used to be the guy that trouble followed everywhere, I kind of get it. You know what I mean? But it's like, do you think he was the cop? A, didn't know who, like, just unpack this for a second. Do you think the cop didn't know who he was, A? And B, do you think he was completely, he was doing nothing wrong? And he was targeted by this cop. I don't believe that.
I don't know about targeting, no. I don't believe that Tyreek was completely innocent either. I said, like they admitted, they talked about he got pretty confrontational afterwards. And as we've seen in any live action cop show, live PD, personal experience, whatever, the second you try and talk and defend yourself, I said, stay still and be quiet. Stay on the ground. But stay on the ground. Oh, yeah. Don't you know who I am? And like, they don't take that. So you do have to, unfortunately, sit through it, through some BS. And then eventually, when everything's calm, say, I hate to say this, and with all due respect, but I got to go play football right away. If there's any way I can get to the game, that would be great. You got to pick your spots, but it's not fun for anybody in those situations.
Oh, so this ain't over. This ain't over. We will hear more, no doubt. Bomber Boy in Calgary writes in and he says, without knowing every detail, I just don't understand why people go over the deep end and become confrontational with police. Because they're spoiled? Because they have issues with authority figures? There's a long list why people won't stay on the ground, why people won't put their hands on their head. Do we actually think Tyreek wasn't speeding. Everybody speeds. Everybody drives erratically here. We don't know all the details. But it's just 50,000 people got in and out of that stadium Saturday night. I was one of them. 70,000 got in and out on Sunday, but one guy couldn't follow the rules. Tyreek Hill, you're not special, Tyreek.
It's a great life lesson.
That's my take on that.
No, it's a great life lesson. Like in those situations, and part of the reason that people get upset is that there's a history of police or authorities abusing their power, and I get all that.
Sure.
But in the moment, you're never going to change somebody's mind. You're never going to win that in the moment. Same thing if your boss is yelling at you, and he may be completely in the wrong. You're not winning that in the moment. So unfortunately, you have to take it, and then afterwards is when you're going to get an apology when somebody realizes they made a mistake, not in the heat of it.
Because a lot of people are jerks. I will say that you know this. Twice in Moose Jaw this summer, I was pulled over by the police for moving violations. And moving violation, not speeding, moving violation. I was in the wrong. Both times I rolled the window down, had my hands on the steering wheel. Hello, officer. I'm sorry. The cops were like relieved that I wasn't being a jerkwater. And in both cases, I got off. In both cases. So why would you play the part of a jerk?
Honey and vinegar, Ben.
BW at Edmonton. Yeah, BW at Edmonton writes in. He says, Live PD, my favorite canceled TV show. I wish it would come back. Well, they played on a loop on reruns down here, man. Moved to Florida. It is the greatest place ever. Jay in Winnipeg says, why did they pull him over in the first place? Well, I believe he was charged or pulled over for reckless driving and speeding. So anyways, keep it going, everybody. Got one more segment. Darren's going to stick around with us for one more overtime coming up. And we'll kick around this poll question today, which, by the way, we haven't talked about it enough. Darren has his reasons for why he's voting what he's voting. I have my reasons for why I'm voting what I am voting. Will the Saskatchewan Roughriders make the CFL playoffs? 59% of you saying no, they won't. We'll be right back for OT in a moment here on Game Plus Television, WQEE, live streaming on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
It's time for Overtime, brought to you by Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Hockey players, are you looking for the perfect place to perfect your shot? Look no further than Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Whether you're prepping for the big game or just want to have some fun, Overtime Hockey Lanes has got you covered. 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. Okay, thanks, Moose, for hanging in. People just can't get enough of the Tyreek Hill story. Gary's watching in Penticton, BC. Gary with 2 R's. He says, was he not in a golf cart? Everybody knows this story, but not everybody understands the South Florida jib. Not everybody drives a golf cart. The rich people drive golf carts. Matthew Tkachuk drives a golf cart around Scottsdale. Tyreek Hill clearly drives it. These things go 120 miles an hour. Andrew Brunette at the All-Star Game 2 years ago, the NHL All-Star Game, was arrested for DUI while driving a golf cart. Everybody drives a golf cart. I do got to say, I didn't hear that he was driving a golf cart. Did you see that in any of the coverage of it?
No, I thought he was driving a Lamborghini or something like that. That's at least what was parked on the side of the road in the shot of the, yeah. I don't know that I've seen the golf cart down the freeway or anything like that. This must be a country club joke or something.
So looking ahead, I swore we would talk a little bit more about this game and didn't get around to it, but Aaron Rodgers will play his first full game tonight in the NFL Monday night matchup with the New York Jets as they face the San Francisco 49ers. Rodgers, who tore his Achilles after just 4 snaps last year, returns to action. Meanwhile, All-Pro San Francisco running back Christian McCaffrey is listed as questionable for the season opener. I had written down, I don't assume the lines changed. Bear with me for a second. I want to go back to Thursday's show. The point spread for this one, it was, as of Thursday, San Fran favored by 4.5. At the time, Moose, you wouldn't take the deal. Are you staying on that?
I'm staying on that. I'm going to stick with it. Prime time, big return. I'm riding with the Jets tonight.
Okay. I'm taking the deal. I'm riding with the 49ers. 902-518-3033, the text number here. A lot of CFL fans watch this show. Matt DeBuck with him Friday night, CFL alum, said to me, God, I just love your show. I just love your show. And those Cardinal Gibbons coaches said the exact same thing. And they're all Americans, but what do? We talk a lot of football here, and I'd like to think we talk about it intelligently. But you don't get a lot of CFL talk everywhere else. In Canada and certainly not in the U.S. So let me ask you this. The Rough Riders make the playoffs. I'm voting no because I'm just kind of being sold on it by what I'm seeing on the message boards. There's people doing rider math as to how it'll be virtually impossible that they do make the playoffs. I believe you voted no. Explain your take on that. Will Saskatchewan
I'm
make
voting.
the CFL West.
Yeah, I'm voting no. And at the same time, if this team starts playing like the 5-1 Riders, they could very much win a Grey Cup if they play like that. But here's why I'm voting no. It's just I'm trying to logically go about it in my head. Can they get past Winnipeg to get into the playoffs? I don't think so, especially after losing the last two. Can they get past BC? Yes, but the way Nathan Rourke's playing the last two games and they're playing, it's like they're back. I don't see them passing BC. And last week I came on the show and said I think Edmonton is going to the Grey Cup and might win the Grey Cup. So clearly I don't think they're going to, be a better team down the stretch than Edmonton is. And all that being said, there's no way in. I don't think a crossover is happening this year. So I just think everything is stacked against them right now, and it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I haven't really looked at their schedule. I just know that things can turn on a dime. They can. We've seen it. Look at Calgary last year. Got hot in the final third, overtook Saskatchewan for the final playoff spot. That coincided with the Riders ending the season on a 6-game losing streak, but yeah, it could happen. Neither you nor I see it happening. Tony from Cochrane, Alberta, writes that he says, thanks for the free therapy rod helping me get through a terrible football weekend for me in the Monday morning blues. He's a Calgary Stampeders fan and a Cleveland Browns fan. For one of those, it's been pretty good. For the other, it's never been good. Troy in Toronto writes in, he says, I wish Aaron Rodgers good health. I hope the Jets get kicked around tonight. Well, he's a Packers fan. And also an Argos fan. I want to go back to this. People spending a lot less time on social media, and my stress level's gotten a lot down. People, again, think they're general managers, spreadsheet GMs. It's how you treat people. That's how people win and why they win. And with the Argos, they back their people. That's why they win. Troy's an Argos fan. That's why I say that. Chad Kelly ain't going to be benched because they threw 4 picks the other day. They support their people, and that's why they win. The Saskatchewan Roughriders don't support their people. And at least now, for those that in June, when I was saying that, they're like, oh, it's just sour grapes. Oh, get over it. Now they know that I was right. I've never been the type of person to say I told you so. Oh, wait. Yes, I am. But in this case, I won't. Moose, have a great afternoon, my friend.
I'll have a great day. Thanks for not bringing up my Titans today.
We still got tomorrow. Thank you, Barflies. See you, everybody. We gone.
Who has more fun than us?
How about that?